layman language, we're at the bottom of the hill and everybody's, higher than us. We want to make sure that the Abbott project and anything that's in that area is impacted by stormwater. And we need to get those ordinances effect in a way that doesn't hurt the property owners in Bristol, so that they're not getting whipsawed between two different communities because we don't have a good process along for them to receive the information needed. So I think that my hope would be they continue to work on those plans and get that process done so that this is a 30-year plan. We want it to work and make sure that all the bases are covered. And get that done.
There's obviously an economic benefit to the village of Pleasant Prairie with the development of west of the interstate in that area. Is there an economic benefit to Bristol to enter into an agreement with the village that would benefit Bristol in the long run?
Well, yeah, I think there is. I mean, one of the economic benefits of the village of Pleasant Prairie is that we've oversized our sewer facilities all the way out from Lake Michigan to the village, and as we submitted our designs in those, the state requires that you size it from the ultimate service area. Well, the ultimate service area almost goes all the way to you. When in our settlement agreement in 1997, Bristol agreed to pay for that oversizing charge. So that's an economic incentive to the village. We want to be able to sell the sewer service that we size our facilities to handle, and Bristol wants to be able to, again, sell that sewer service to that area as it develops. So they would earn a sewer customer. They stand an opportunity for that land to develop and gain the tax base on it. And I think that's their advantage. I mean, they're in a little bit different situation there because Pleasant Prairie is on both sides of the interstate. The west side of the state will, those businesses will provide tax dollars to Bristol Elementary, the Central School, not to much unified. So anything we do over there and that helps them develop is good for all those residents. It'll be for village residents because the village residents will see their share of the property taxes. So if you can get all this, the stars lined up and everything goes together, I think everybody stands to win in this if people proceed. And I think development's going to occur. I mean, there's land in ours that's not called for residential development. It's commercial manufacturing. So right now, that's a fairly active component of the real estate market. It's the only one that is active.
Steve?
Yeah, Kevin, you mentioned something about that Bristol, they consider important one of the issues that they didn't, or that was a secondary issue. Now, are you referring to the Clean Water Act? Did they do anything with that? Did they have any ordinance?
I was not referring to that, and to the extent that no, I was not referring to the Clean Water Act. There are certain ordinances that they're required to have passed, and they're in the process of updating ordinances. I can't speak with perfect knowledge as to what the status of their ordinances is now. I can just tell you what was reported to me, which was that they're in the process of updating their ordinances, and it may impact some of those issues. It was by no means an indication that they didn't think they were important in any way.
Okay, then I understood the part. The other question I got is, we're taking water from the Michigan, this side of the Continental Divide. If we can provide sewer to them, to the village, right now we provide sewer to the town of Bristol. Correct?
That's correct.
So, if we have to provide them, we have to pay for oversizing of the line going to supply the village.
They pay oversizing plus treatment.
Okay. Now, where the water is coming from? It's coming from the other side from the deck plane, or they're going to take it from us? From the Michigan, because there's a problem with that.
The 97 agreement provided that the village would also provide water in that area, under our permit. In the intervening time, there was an annex to the Great Lakes Charter, which the state's working through, and it's another item on our agenda, that puts Bristol into a non-straddling community status, which means that water from the Great Lakes Basin cannot go into the Bristol Basin. the state legislatures worked through a law that would create an adoption of that compact. It says for a community like Bristol, they would have the opportunity to use that water, assuming it all comes back. And it kind of goes back to what, the conditions that, exist for the city of Kenosha. City of Kenosha extends water beyond the Succonellae Divide and all goes back to Lake Michigan. That's the common sense solution to diversions, is to redo that. But on that new compact, it's a little more difficult. So it really depends on how that compact shapes out. If in the intervening period that it's not adopted or there's some subsequent change, Bristol is just going to have to do what they have to do. We can only provide the water to the extent that the state of Wisconsin allows. And our initial commitment was to provide it, and we would continue to provide it, but if the DNR will not approve set of plans that brings water into Bristol, there's really nothing we can do. Then Bristol would have to drill wells or find some other vehicle to provide water. That's going to be something that they would have to undertake. We really have no control or influence over that.
Okay, the tower that we got right now in Prime Outlets, when originally was built, that was built according to a decision by the PSC to build that oversight to supply water to Bristol,
No,
correct?
the tower by Prime Outlets you're talking
Yeah.
about only services the area east of the interstate. It'll serve some areas
Yeah, that we want
east,
Bristol.
but the full build out of that area requires another tower to be placed on the east side of the interstate, only because if you think about the elevation of that land, it rises significantly from the Des Plaines, and there's another tower in that area. But we wouldn't put that in for Abbott or Uline well until it would be a few years out before we generated enough demand. But Bristol would have to construct their own storage for the 660 acres that they can service, again, based on where they get water, whether they'll need that, whether they're pumping it out of the ground or they're buying it from us. For fire protection, you're going to need elevated storage.
How much water we can supply them from the,
Right now, none, under the current rule, but, assuming that changes, I believe we can provide them with close to 1 million gallons. 686 would have to, would come back, how much sewer capacity we have, so the rest would be, for fire flow. There's a fire, we gotta be able to, and they have to be able to provide service, provide sewer and water service, and fight a fire at the same time, so. That's water that hopefully you don't use, but you have to have it.
Fine.
Mike, if we have to provide water and sewer up there, and there's a remnant town left, could we still be in a position where they could possibly not afford the water, and that's being a bad position now?
Yeah, I think that's as if there is a remnant town and they incorporate and the remnant town exists, I think that's, one of the questions that we probably in our staff discussions with council, kind of ferret that out, is a remnant town economically viable to assume all of the legal obligations that between Pleasant Prairie and Bristol, or is the village of Bristol the same instead? I don't know. And I think that's the reason why we probably need lots more.
Thank you.
Good comments, questions?
You're looking for motion to accept one of the three, is that correct?
Well, if I could make a recommendation, maybe, just in the form of a verbal resolution to resolve that the village staff and council continue to meet with the town staff and town council to resolve some of the open issues, work through the process between the two communities, come up with a process that's going to identify how the plan is going to be implemented, and how the process is going to work, and address some of the questions we have here, and then with the ultimate goal of coming up with a plan that